It is 4 minutes past 2. It is Afternoons with me, Helen Farmer, and it's competition time. It is a Dubai classic. Ben Jerome at the Dusit Thani Dubai has unveiled a new summer menu, 3 courses of Thai classics with mocktails and a pretty amazing view of the skyline as well. Now, this menu is priced at 159 dirhams per person, but I've got a 500 dirham voucher to give away. If you fancy scoring that, I need you to tell me, in light of our topic this hour, what do you think every new arrival in Dubai should know? Your top tip for anyone who is thinking about touching down in DXB. We've had some silly ones, we've had some serious ones, we've had some involved bits of advice, and a few quick tips too. So there's no right or wrong. Well, maybe there are. 4001 on the SMS. You can use your ARN Play app, and you've got the WhatsApp too. Please put your name in it so I can put you in the draw, and we're picking a winner before the end of today's show. Dubai's population continues to surge, hitting 3.92 million by the end of March. That means nearly 90,000 new residents arriving in just the first quarter of this year. That's about 1,000 people a day. So with this rapid growth comes a wave of new challenges, I would say, for new and existing residents, and opportunities, of course, for those making the move. So joining us today to unpack... See what I did there? What this means, we've got Lisa van der Watt, who's a seasoned relocation manager at CSP Group, and Emma Jordan, who is an author, Dubai Decoded, and a cultural intelligence expert. Shall we go to the text line before we get into the questions? Because some really good tips and tricks coming in. Randy says, street shawarma is elite. If it costs under 10 dirhams and comes wrapped in foil, it's probably going to change your life. I would say 10 out of 10 tip. Now I want to go to... Oh, do you know what? I'm going to IKEA tonight. Does a decent shawarma, does IKEA? Randolph saying, camels are not Ubers. Yes, you might see camels. No, you cannot ride one. They don't accept Apple Pay and tend to spit when they're annoyed. Sunil, I love this one, saying... Number one tip for people moving to Dubai would be kind to animals, especially the many that have been dumped on the street. If you intend to own a pet, please adopt, don't buy, and try to involve the rescue groups. They're the nicest and kindest people you will meet. And Kamala saying, do your research into property prices and school fees. Contact employment agency before you come. And don't burn all your bridges back home until you find a job. No name on this one. Please put your name on. I've got 2 words for you. Entertainer and privily. So I'm really glad to have a full studio today, and I'm not going to try and do some fast maths, but between us in the studio, how many years have you been here, Lisa?
22.
Okay, Emma?
10.
Oh my goodness, that's rather pleasingly exactly 50 years. So I feel like we're quite well equipped. 4001 if you do have any questions for the team. Lisa, what do you think is driving this record-breaking influx of people to Dubai right now, and how does it compare to previous years?
Well, Helen, thanks for having me on the show firstly.
Always a pleasure.
Nice to be back. There's quite a few factors that are affecting the influx of people. I think the main one is maybe economic situations in their home countries. Either high tax rates, changes in the laws, which could be driving quite a lot of people from certain locations.
You can say them, we don't mind.
UK.
Thank you. Yep.
Also, just a better lifestyle, safety, security, also job opportunities. There's, it's advertised that there's so many new jobs coming on the market, but at the same time, they are quite particular on who they're taking. It's not just send out your CV and they're just going to select somebody from a list of 30.
Mm.
We've noticed, because I have been speaking to quite a few recruitment companies, and they've also said, choosing the correct talent is really one of their main aims at the moment. It's not just picking anybody.
So it's an employer's market.
Yes, 100%.
They've got the choice.
Yeah.
For just, if you would mind explaining, Lisa, a little bit about how you work with people, because maybe that can help with any questions that could be coming in this hour.
Okay, well, we basically support people that are moving to the region or out of the region. We support with things like home searches, school search assistance, settling in assistance, temporary accommodation bookings, anything that's going to make their life easy and stress-free when they get here. Mm-hmm. It alleviates a lot of time constraints and if they need to get into a new role quite quickly, helping somebody, set up viewings, and they don't have to, go through all the millions of real estate agents out there trying to find a correct property. Okay. If we know their requirements, we can really easily search the market for them, line up property viewings, and off they're good to go.
And
same as schools.
and
I was going to
admin.
say, yeah, schools as well.
They're the hot topic.
Yeah, schools are quite a challenge at the moment. And I'm not sure if you saw that article that school fees are increasing.
2.35%.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I haven't had the email from my school yet.
Yeah, it's coming. Sorry. But yeah, we also assist with school search assistants. There's a lot of wait listing at the moment.
But there's a lot of new schools opening too.
There are, but lots of people coming here want the popular schools.
They do.
I'm not going to mention them, but there are certain schools that everybody wants to go to.
I mean, Lisa, I'm not going to name the school, but I cried because I couldn't even get on the waiting list.
Exactly.
Couldn't even get an expression of interest accepted by the school. And I was like, do you know what? You can shove it. But not meant for me anyway.
No. But I think what people have to consider is that even if they're looking, for example, on the websites and they're seeing outstanding schools, it doesn't mean that's going to be a good fit for their child.
Totally agree.
It's got to be about the culture and the, what the school's all about and just the feel of the school. So even good schools are generally great.
Good, yeah, quite agree.
If it suits your child.
I can already tell this is going to be very useful for people who might be thinking about coming here. So if you are listening to this and you've got friends from outside of the UAE or thinking about relocating, the podcast will be available after the show. Emma, tell us a little bit about your book, Dubai Decoded. It's all about thriving in a multicultural environment. To your mind, what are some of the biggest cultural challenges that newcomers face when they first arrive here?
Yeah, so the book's designed for helping anybody that's in Dubai to better navigate their kind of intercultural interactions. So that could be even people like ourselves that have been here for years and maybe just don't understand that maybe some of the challenges that they're facing are down to culture. Or it could be some of these newcomers that we're talking about who have never worked internationally before or even just not in this region. And it will just help them to better navigate their interactions.
What do you think are some of the big hot topics right now? When you were writing and planning this book, you're like, well, I have to include that.
I just think that people, they come to Dubai potentially technically competent. They might have even been headhunted or, transferred internally by their employer. So they come with, preconception that they're going to be great at their job. And that's not to say that they're not great at their job, but when you take them out of their existing culture and reapply that role, even if it's the same role that they're doing in their home country, into a new culture, working with people from different cultures, it can look entirely different. So for me, it's just about understanding that you do need to start to get to grips with understanding different cultural dynamics so that your interactions are more effective.
I mean, I think back to when I moved here, and I lived in Bahrain very briefly before moving to Dubai. We moved during Ramadan, and I was my early 20s. And we'd had some religious education at school. It was really poor, and I didn't even fully understand what Ramadan was. I didn't know that when I would be working, how my colleagues would be working during that time. And I think you can kind of come and start to try to assert what you believe to be right and true and proper in a country that you've never lived in. And that's not necessarily through any fault or arrogance of your own, but you need to understand, and I literally did a post on this morning, that you need to understand that you are a guest in a country. Yeah. And I think a lot of people come here and don't realise that it's a privilege to be here for many. And, you're lucky to be here just as sometimes they're lucky to have you.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it is predominantly an expat population, the underlying culture is an Islamic culture, and our responsibility as expats is to better understand that. And something like Ramadan, it's important to be thinking about, or even just in the normal working day, thinking about when are the prayer times, what's an appropriate time to schedule a meeting, being when somebody says, sorry, can I just excuse myself? I need to leave the room. I need to go for prayer. I think when you first arrive, most people think, well, hang on a minute, we're halfway through a meeting, and they don't necessarily realise, they need to be open-minded to those differences.
Correct. We're going to come to this because I said I've got some fantastic tips coming in on 4001. I've got some great questions for our guests in the studio. We've got relocation manager Lisa van der Walt with us, and we've just been hearing there from author and cultural intelligence expert Emma Jordan. If you want to get in touch, the text lines are open, 4001. You could use the ARN Play app and the WhatsApp. You can send us a voice note there as well, of course. We're going to talk a little bit about how to read situations, adapting with confidence, and some of the common mistakes that our experts have seen. Appropriately, we've had an awful lot of messages about the roads, so let's catch up with Jen.
Dubai Eye 103.8 traffic.
With Yas Island Abu Dhabi. Stay at iconic hotels and play at record-breaking theme parks. Book now on yasisland.com.
14 minutes past 2, Jennifer Crichton. What is happening on our roads this afternoon?
I feel like I've got to apologise in advance before I say this, but I've got accidents on Hesse Street and Sukim Street right now, which is never really what we want to see, especially not at the same time. The Hesse Street accident is alongside Jebel Ali Racecourse. That's causing a slowdown in both directions. And then we've got an accident at the bottom of Sukim Street where it meets the E11 Sheikh Zayed Road. That is causing traffic in every direction. And we've just had a second accident pop up on Hesse Street as well, around the first one.
Should I just
Basically in that queue. So
I
avoid
might just
Hesse.
turn your microphone off in a second.
Sorry about that.
Anything else to add?
One on the D54 where it meets the D63 around Arabian Ranches 2. I've got an accident on the 311 as well in front of Dubai Production City. And then it's looking patchy through the city. And then once you get north of the creek, very busy through Sharjah, basically starting around Mirdif on the 311, busy in both directions. Similar story on the E11, and there's an accident on the S102 through Sharjah's industrial area as well. Sorry.
It's fine. Just don't come back unless you've got happier news in an
away.
hour's time. No, in all seriousness, if there's anything you guys do want to share that you see out there, do get in touch 4001, but only if it's safe to do so.
Dubai Eye 103.8 traffic.
Just a quick look ahead to Friday. An awful lot of people coming to Dubai to set up their businesses. So essential listening on Fridays at 10 o'clock. It is starting up with Tom Urquhart and VirtuZone chairman Neil Petch. And they're looking this week on how you keep your customers and your clients happy and coming back for more. Special guest sharing what really builds loyalty. So this is something you think would be valuable to you or indeed someone in your life. Make sure you tune in Friday from 10, only here on Dubai Eye 103.8. Loving your messages coming in. What do you think every new arrival to the city needs to know?
More of Afternoons with Helen Farmer is coming up next.
On the UAE's #1 talk radio